All right, 3, 2, 1. We are live.
Live. All right. Feels good.
Sweet 16.
Episode 16. Yeah, we got our driver's license.
I know.
We're good to go. Look out. We're on the road.
We're getting it. So, welcome back, everybody. Mapping it out with me, Kota.
And Ryan Williams.
Yep. And like we said, episode 16. And today we went on Instagram and we asked a couple we made like a poll to figure out what are people struggling with, what they want to talk about, because we made this podcast not just for me and Ryan to have conversations, even though it does help me. But we want to be able to help other people, other entrepreneurs that are going through the same things that we're still going through. So that's why I just made a quick poll on Instagram, asked a couple questions, and we got some bites. So
cool.
Just want to cover that. So the first one I got, and it was a lot of people hit me up about burnout. Like, how do you deal with burnout as an entrepreneur?
It ties into every other problem that people have, right? One of the comments I saw was, how do you deal with test days? Like, how do you deal with it when everything, like one of those days when like everything you touch just turns to shit? And I think it's important to understand the nature of what you're walking into. Like, entrepreneurship is hard. It's not what you see on Instagram when people are like, oh, it's nice. I just created my LLC and now I make $1 million. Check out my fucking Lamborghini. Like, it's not like that. And if somebody's, showing you only the good stuff, then they're probably full of shit, because that's not what it looks like. I haven't seen anybody yet who just has a clear rise from 0 to 100. Like, success does not look like that for anybody at any measure. So there are dips and valleys, and there are, it's a convoluted path. And that's part of what I wanted to do with this podcast, was show people like, hey, it's not what you think it is. You got to be fucking ready for it. And here's some steps and things will help you along the way. One of those, I think maybe the biggest thing, is just knowing what you're getting into. It's like if you want to be a pro fighter, you're going to get fucking hit. Like, you can't go in and be like, I want to be a fighter and never get hit and you're just going to win all your rounds by knockout. Like, nobody does that. And everybody knows that. But somehow everybody thinks they're going to go in entrepreneurship and like, I'm just going to KO everybody on the way up. I'm like, dude, that's life you're fighting. Like, life is going to fuck with you nonstop. You're going to have days where it lets you in and days where it just crushes you. And it's all a test, Sometimes it's a test when you win. See, like, how good of a winner are you?
Yeah.
Like, are you an asshole? Are you rubbing people's faces? Are you being a dick to people? Are you talking down to the wait staff on your celebratory dinner and busting people in the face with champagne like an asshole? Like, that also tells life. And, from my experience, when you do that, like, man, life's like, okay, this motherfucker's not ready to win. I got to crush him down a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then you get the lows. But that's just part of the game, man. And I mean, there's tactics and things you can use to get through it. But I think maybe the biggest thing is just to go into it with an understanding that that's the nature of the game that you're playing. And if you want to get into that game, you're going to get hit in the face by life, by, finances, by products, by manufacturing shortfalls, and like your customers, like everything is gonna pile on. And but I think it gives you power to go into it knowing that, like, okay, I'm ready now. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for what's up.
Yeah. So to me, being an entrepreneur is like exactly what you just said. A lot of people on Instagram, social media, they show the high life of just how it is. In reality, that's like no one's life on social media.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Nobody. It's like they have their problems, their issues that they're going through, their demons, all that kind of stuff. But you have to understand, it's not a perfect world as entrepreneurship. And sometimes you'll see people that like got it quick, but it comes tumbling down. It can tumble down. Like someone, Conor McGregor, since you brought up fighting, dude, he was unstoppable. But then it came to a halt. Like, he started losing and stuff going down. Like, no matter what, you'll have those peaks, but you're also going to have those falls, you know? So when how I go through burnout is understand entrepreneurship's not easy, but take those times when you need it. I think people get so caught up in the fucking go. You need to get this shit done. Wake up at 4 a.m. You need to make sure you're working 18 hours a day. Like, dude, what kind of bullshit is that? In the beginning, it makes sense to like get things really going. But dude, that burnout is why people quit. So if it's like, what's more important, like going fucking balls to the wall every single day where you get to the burnout and you want to quit, or is you make something that works for you and it's consistent long run?
I think it's also important to recognize that there is a wall sometimes, and not every wall is you can just work harder and break through.
Yeah.
So Connor like completely recreated himself.
Yep.
And he was, top of the fight game. And he's a really good fighter, but nobody's on top of the fight game forever. That's just an impossibility. Yep. So he transitioned to being on top of like the business fight game. And so Disney has a great quote. It's, be stubborn about your goals, but flexible about your methods. Mm-hmm. So he wanted to be, the greatest fighter in the world at his weight. And he was for sure.
Yeah.
But also bigger goal than that. Why did he want to do that? If fighting paid no money, he wouldn't be a fighter.
Nope.
Right. So one of his main goals is obviously money. So if that's his main goal and fighting reached an apex point and you can't break through a wall at a certain point, he's a really good entrepreneur and businessman too. He just changed course a little bit. He's like, okay, I'm going to use what I built so far and channel it in a different way and build, Proper 12, billion dollar brand.
I love Proper 12.
And he gets, can you imagine, like, the dude is just killing it, like in every aspect because of the brand that he built on the way up. But that's I think a great example of that. Like, you get punched in the face, literally.
Yeah, for a living.
Yeah. And then figuratively, you get punched in the face with that huge brick wall. Like, hey, you can't get any higher and you can't maintain this performance level forever in the fight game. So what does that look like for you? And he just changed who he's fighting. Now he's fighting in the business world, using everything he learned in the fight game, and he's crushing it. I think that's exactly what it's like.
Yeah. When I have those days of like uncertainty, my dad always told me, he's like, act like you're in a movie. It's like, what do you mean? He's just like, dude, you're in the coolest movie ever.
Yeah,
like,
maybe we all are.
Yeah, dude, it's just a Truman Show or whatever. But it's just like, no, act like it. Like with a movie, if it's all fucking peak like that, it just keeps going up. It's so fucking boring.
Yeah.
So boring. So like going through that battle, be like, this is what you're dealing with. How do I get through it? That's the exciting part. Because there's character build, yeah. And it's just, you get through that valley and you're like, fuck, I did it. I fucking did it. And you just do it. I love that. So I think that's a good one to cover that we just did.
Yeah, you're all set. That's it. You're going to be a millionaire now. whoever
there you go. Just listen to that. You're, watch, what was that movie? Notorious. Conor McGregor.
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, no.
Is that a movie?
It's on, I think it's still on Netflix. But yeah, it's a whole documentary of like when he first started, like back in Dublin. So it's crazy.
Okay. Yeah, I got to watch that.
Yeah, man. Kind of on the same aspect, but hitting walls and stopping momentum. So that's kind of different, where you feel like you are not going through like peaks, like you're going, right? But then you just halt.
Well, one is avoidable, one is not. Like you're going to hit walls for sure, but losing momentum is in large part a choice. And you'll have times where like, it's like driving a car, man. Like you have momentum with the car, but it takes a lot of horsepower. It takes a lot of gas and energy to get up to speed. But then you got a big turn coming up or a roadblock or something. You have to go slow down to get around it, move the car around, same as life and entrepreneurship. And then once you're ready to go again, you got to get back on step. And that requires gasoline, that requires energy, like literally requires fuel. And in life, that translates to focus. It translates to time. It translates to sometimes actual physical work or mental work. But you just have to focus on what it is and understand that, like, to get momentum back, you have to step back on the gas pedal. You have to go. And like, it's tough when you get to a certain point, and I see this all the time with a lot of entrepreneurs, is they get to a certain point, they get comfortable. I'm like, I'm just going to let off the gas and coast and maintain. But it doesn't last because there's always twists and turns in the road, and there's always roadblocks that pop up. And if you're not willing to at least be able to step on the gas again, you're eventually just going to coast and slow down and then stop and you're done. I mean, hopefully you made enough money where you can do that. That's an option.
Yeah, right.
But if not, man, yeah, you gotta be able to maintain the pace. It's like, dragster might be the fastest car for a quarter mile, but you're not going to drive a dragster 100 miles. Like it wouldn't even make it 5 miles.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that pace, the consistency.
Yeah. Like you're not, it's a marathon. You're not trying to sprint, dude,
Entrepreneurship, yes, is a marathon.
It's more like parkour, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. You're not just...
It's like an extended game of parkour.
Yeah, random shit getting thrown at you all the time. This is an interesting one. I I just want to know what you have to say. Selecting a certain bank with like starting a new business, like the best banks or credit cards for business.
Oh yeah. There's different schools of thought on this, but I'll just say my school of thought and then other, avenues that I also think are very valuable. I personally like to go with a big bank. We use Chase for all our stuff. And the reason is a lot of our clients, we're sending, $20,000, $100,000 wires sometimes. And most of our other clients are on Chase too. So because the bank looks at it like it's bank to bank, so they have complete control over the money, the entire process. So they wire it faster, like, a couple minutes sometimes. And it very rarely gets held or kicked back. Whereas a small bank, like a small credit union, they might not have the integration with the bigger banks or the relationships built. So you might have to wire like 50 grand to somebody. And if the banks don't talk, that could take, sometimes they'll hold it up or they'll like hold your funds for like 3 days. And if you're waiting on product and they're not going to ship product till you get that, and you have a drop date for this product that you're expecting and the bank delayed it by 3 days because they're not processing payment, you can miss your whole drop date. So it really, I look at it like, yes, it is a little bit more expensive. You don't have as many customizable options, but you do have a really, really high degree of reliability and efficiency. So for us, that fits very well with the way that we operate. So that's why I like to work with a big bank and just kind of run things that way. Although one of the drawbacks to that is you don't have as customized and personalized service. So the other school of thought on that is that you should go with a small credit union. You can develop a personal relationship with a banker. They know you, they know your like product line, they know your business model. So when you need financing, you need a loan for like 50,000, 100, whatever it is to grow, they look at the whole person concept rather than just the bank sheet. So you might be able to get a better loan rate or more money or money at all from like a credit union that a big bank would be like, no, we're not touching it. So there's pros and cons to each.
Just because it's risky, they just don't want to touch it because you're new.
Yeah. And when, everybody's new to entrepreneurship at some point.
Yeah, right.
And it costs money to start shit. I personally, for business, we use Chase, and I have my personal bank, completely different bank, because I don't want them to be able to freeze all my money at any time. Oh. So, and that like, because we have a couple different businesses and like, what is it? Some like California thing. They thought we didn't file something, so they shut down one of our bank accounts that had like, I don't know, $2,000. It was something we weren't even using. But I was like, wait, why the fuck did this get shut down? And they just took all the money out. I'm like, oh, fuck. But what if that had been one of our big accounts? Yeah, or like my personal account or something. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm really glad that I have, like, it makes sense for me to have personal bank completely different from a business bank. Although I do have personal bank account at the business bank account. So I can transfer money super fast because it takes a couple of days to transfer money from bank to bank. But that's the reason I do that. So it's just more efficient on the banking side.
Gotcha.
As far as credit cards, there's a little trick that I use that I think is super valuable. So as an entrepreneur, taxes are a heavy thing, and you got to pay taxes. But what most people don't realize is you only have to pay taxes on the money that you pay yourself and you put in your pocket. So I have 2 credit cards. They're both Amex. One is a business credit card, and we chose a gold credit card because you can choose up to 4 categories that you get 4 times your points for. So we run, 5 figures a month on shipping alone. So we put all that on there. So we get a couple 100,000 points a month just for shipping. And then what I do is I use those points to pay down my balance. So because we run such a high amount, we pay down the balance. So it's free $2,000 to $4,000 a month money. It's like free money. So is
that from the points?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So we just run that up, and then I have my personal Amex, and I combine those points, and I can pay down, whichever balance I want. So I mean, it's literally $2,000 to $4,000 of free money.
Wow.
But most people don't know that.
But that's a huge question. Dude, before I started business, I had no idea what credit cards were. Like, I just know but a lot of people stay away Stay away from those.
Yeah.
And a big mistake to me though. It's like, no, if you use them if you can use them correctly.
Well, yeah, and ideally you'd pay off the balance every month, so you don't even have to pay interest on it.
Yeah.
Like you just like literally free money. We full transparency, we don't pay off the balance every month. So because we have really high operational costs and we got money going out all over the place. So we basically use it as like a line of credit now. But originally that was the intent, was like we just used it for high volume stuff and got the points and used the points to pay the balance down. But now it's just the way we use it is a line of credit with, a little bit of money back.
Mm-hmm. You said that's Amex?
Yeah, we use Amex, but Chase has some other good options. Other banks have other options. There's probably better options out there. We've been with them so long, we get, good service. So I keep it. Another note on that though, as you guys are building out your business, make sure you have, whichever bank you choose, have a separate bank account for your business and a separate bank account for your personal money. And whatever credit card is tied to, pay that credit card. So only put things that you're 100% sure are write-off on that business credit card. Like, don't be going out to the movies with your wife and everything. Like, don't do that. Don't put that on that credit card. Put that on the personal credit card. But only things that you can for sure write off on the business credit card, and pay that business credit card every month from the business account. So that way the funds are not commingled at all. It's completely separate. So when it comes tax time, you know exactly what you are responsible for on like personal taxes and personal expenses, and exactly what the business is responsible for paying.
Good to know, because that's what I'm doing right now. Well,
that's why you need 2 credit cards.
Okay, but would it just be like a normal credit card? Or it's like this one just for my business, this one's for this.
Well, you'll open it in the business account.
Oh, okay, so
my business Amex says like Ryan Williams, Industry Fabrics.
Got it.
Personal one says Ryan Williams, no business at all, just tied to me.
Okay,
but the points combine, which is nice
because it's all under the same bank.
Well, it's not a bank, just credit.
Just credit, yeah.
Same. It's not even the same account. It's just same owner.
Yeah.
I'm to be honest, I'm not sure how it functions. They just randomly combine the points. I'm like, dude, this is cool.
I'll use these.
I'll use that, right? Thank you very much, Amex.
Nice, dude. That's a good one, because I got my, not first, but like I'm doing it smart now with my credit card, and like getting my credit score is amazing now when it was so ass. But it makes more sense where it's just like, yeah, dude, you have to split it up, and that's what we kind of talked about before. It's like the getting an LLC, so everything is separate. Like, so people come after your money compared to like just taking everything that you got compared to like it's like the business side. You know what I mean?
Also, when you're first starting out, a lot of people don't know you don't actually need an LLC, because in California it's $800 to file an LLC, and there's above that there's like corporations, which are S corp or C corp, or you can file. There's levels too, but none of that really matters. What matters in this conversation, there's a level below LLC, which is sole proprietorship. And what that allow you to do is you don't have to actually have a business entity, and LLC is limited liability company. So it allows you to kind of have some separation of responsibility and liability. But really, when you're scaling a business, it's all your ass anyway. So it's not a big difference. But you can do a sole prop, and then a sole prop will allow you to do like your name, Dakota Westbrook, right? So that's you have a sole prop as Kota Films, and now you can open a bank account as Kota Films. You can also have DBAs underneath a sole prop, and each DBA is what you can use to open a business account. So you don't need an LLC to actually open a business account. You can do it's DBA, which is a doing business as, or California calls it fictitious business name, which sounds super shady, but that's what they call it. But yeah, it gets a little bit complex, but when you take like a macro view of it, it's pretty simple. It's just people tend to complicate it quite a bit.
Well, it makes more sense for me, because I know we talked about that. Go check those episodes out where we go a bigger dive into like a LLC, S corp, all that kind of stuff.
What episode was that? Do you remember? I want to say it's like 8 or 9.
I was going to say 8, so it must be
probably
8. Go look at 8. So that helps me a lot too, because that's what I'm learning. It's like, okay, now, it's definitely get a cyber credit card and make sure to use that. And it makes it easier for taxes.
Well, dude, the finance game it's the only part of business that is not intuitive. Like, because most businesses, when you look at it, it's pretty common sense. Like most of the decisions you have to make, even looking back, you'd be like, yeah, I kind of knew what the right answer was. I took it, and it's just, minimizing risk. And it's like gambling, but you're gambling on yourself. But it's pretty easy to see the logical transition. And most things in business like make sense, right? Like the best business advice I've ever heard, it always sounds like common sense afterwards. Like, oh, yeah, why would you not do that? It's the finance stuff that makes no fucking sense. Where when you learn it and learn the tricks, that some of these guys are operating like, 1,000 times bigger level than me. The finance tools that are available is insane. And none of it makes any fucking sense. It's not intuitive. It's not something you can just like, oh, I would have figured that out. And a lot of the stuff you can't find in books either, or it's like buried in some like obscure textbook. Mm-hmm. You have to find somebody who's actually doing it and then learn from them, which is how I learned all this stuff.
Yeah. Someone that you got me out, McBroom.
Tyler Broom, he's great for tax guy.
Yeah. Great on Instagram. So if you guys ever, because people reach out to me for taxes, like with my biz and all that kind of stuff, I send to him, like in the aspect of go look at his content because he has a lot of cool stuff.
Oh, he's a fantastic tax guy.
Yeah.
We use him for our taxes, but also he's awesome for just high level strategies because he only does taxes for entrepreneurs. So there's so many tools available that you just don't know.
Yeah, I know, huh?
But they're useful. They're not super useful in the beginning because the businesses get more complex as they get bigger. But in the beginning, it's very simple. Like 2 business accounts, only write off stuff in one, and then your personal accounts and don't mingle them. Like it's pretty simple. Yeah. But when they get bigger and you're loaning one business money and that's loaning another business money and you're getting it back, and now you're like, the fuck do you adjudicate that? And the tax strategy, Tyler's the guy.
Yeah, nice. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to apply for another credit card after this episode. All right, cool. Ryan Williams, buy or rent real estate?
Man, who the fuck knows right now? It's crazy.
We're in California. We're in San Diego.
I think it's a very personal choice, though. I can only tell you my situation and what I wish my situation looked like looking back. So we don't own anything right now. I bought a house in like 2006 and crashed in 2008. It was a horrible decision. I feel like PTSD from the fucking housing market after that. So I haven't bought anything. And I probably won't buy anything in San Diego because I think it is incredibly overpriced right now. It's insane how expensive these things are for a variety of reasons. It's not a real estate podcast, so I want to get into all my theories on this shit. But my own decision, because of the things that I know and the people I talk to, I'm not buying residential real estate right now in San Diego. But we are looking at residential real estate in Salt Lake City. What we are getting into, or what I want to get into, and what I wish I would have got into earlier, is commercial real estate, and not like multifamily or anything like that. I want to get into commercial real estate for a few very simple, very powerful reasons. Though, is number one. Your tenants, like each lease for commercial, because most people, unless you sign a commercial lease, you don't know how like different they are from residential lease. Lease minimum is usually 3 to 5 years. You're locked in, like, and you cannot get. It's not like you can just break your lease and like fuck you, find me half a month's payment. Like no, they will sue you into oblivion and you will go bankrupt. Like you cannot get out of these leases. It's a big commitment for 3 to 5 years. And so if you're the landlord, you can vet your possible tenants because if you're doing residential, like, oh, what's your credit score? And everybody's bullshitting about how much money they make and how many cats and dogs they have and like kids and all that shit. And you're like, oh my God. And what if it has a pool and you got like a shower that's going to flood and you've got, what's it called? Ovens? A stove that like is going to burn the place down. Like there's so many big risks. And your lease is only like a year, maybe, and then month to month, it's very volatile and the risk is high. Whereas a commercial tenant, you can look at their P&Ls. You can very reasonable ask for like 2 years of tax returns, like how much money did they actually make? Not what they're telling you they made on some little fucking bullshit form. What did they tell the government they made? Yeah. What's reality? And all their credit score, and you can go. We've had people come and visit our place, and they were looking at us as tenants. So you have a lot more control over who you bring in, and you have a lot stronger rental agreement or lease agreement with them. And also, there's this thing called triple net over it, where say you have a lease for a place for $1.50 a square foot, something like that. You might have triple net on top of that for like an extra, say 25 cents. So as the landlord, they're just renting the space, and the triple net covers the taxes. So there's a proposition in California right now to like drastically increased the property tax for commercial properties. Me as a tenant now in this building, guess who has to fucking pay that? Me. Even though I don't own the building, the triple net, I have to pay the extra on that. So you are so protected as a landlord in commercial property. It's unbelievable. It's like the roof starts leaking. Well, fix it. Whereas what do you do if a roof starts leaking in your residential house?
Yeah.
You're like, bro, fuck, it's leaking. Get over here. Oh, toilet's clogged. Oh, get over here. Oh, my stove doesn't work. My heater's out. Like, get over here. Whereas we call landlord here, like, it's a tenant issue. Fix it. Yeah, it's weird.
So
it's
if it started leaking up there, you gotta find someone?
Yeah. We got to find them.
Fuck?
And then they'll be like, oh, well, you know what? Let us know what it costs. And if it looks like it's our fault, then we'll reimburse you. But it's a fight.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah. So it's not at all like residential. If you want to renew, it's not like month to month. You have to renew and re-sign for another 3 to 5 years. And it automatically goes up 3% every year. So in that 1 year lease term, it goes up 9%. So you as a landlord, so that's why I mean, like, dude, I want to get into commercial real estate.
You'd rather own your own warehouse and buy other ones to rent out.
Yeah, for our stuff, the plan that we came up with, which might change, but because of our operations is very infrastructure heavy, so it completely makes sense for us to own our own warehouse. It doesn't make sense for us to lease at all. The problem we're running into now is just there's literally nothing to buy. Like we look at like LoopNet is a great place to look for commercial properties or any properties. Dude, there's last time I looked exactly 2 properties for sale in all of Miramar, the entirety of Miramar, for what we need, like warehouse at a certain size. So it's unbelievable.
So that's why are you looking in
north,
south?
We were going to buy
county?
And like you were looking all the way from like Vista, which is like 20 minutes north of here, all the way down to like literally you throw a rock and hit Mexico, which is like 30, 40 minutes. So like an hour spread either way. And dude, there was like 3 to 5 warehouses that were actually available and like fit what we needed.
So, but that's the thing for you. Like you got to come up quick because when's your lease up? Because if you have,
we couldn't find it. We had to re-sign a lease here.
So that's another 3 to 5.
Yeah, I had to commit to another 3 years. But also, so you can't get out of it, but you can sublease it. So subleasing, instead of getting out of it, you just sublease it out. But usually you're losing money on that. So it's not a good deal. It's just like a way out. Because you really can't break a commercial lease.
Yeah. That's crazy. I had no idea about that.
Nobody does, dude. I didn't before we did it. And that's why it also has
the commercials is where the game's at.
Yeah. I mean, great if you're a landlord. It fucking sucks ass if you're a tenant.
Yeah, right.
But that's also something that I try to tell our clients when they get that past that like, $750,000 mark where they're starting to move out of their garage or their spare room. They're like, oh, should I get a warehouse? Should I do this? I'm like, well, you can, but most people don't understand how much of your ass you're putting in a line by renting a commercial space. And then also, say you're a small apparel line doing like 500, 750,000 a year, and you're like, okay, I want to get a warehouse. Cool. How much do you need? I don't know. My garage is 800 square feet. I'm going to get 1,500 square feet. Awesome. That's going to be, whatever. Let's say it's $2,500 a month. Now you do that. Like, okay, I got $2,500 a month, 1,500 square feet, 3-year lease. What if you blow out of that space in 9 months and you need another space that's 5,000 square feet? You're still on the hook for that lease. So now you got to deal with subleasing out the space. You got to find tenants. You got to pay a real estate agent, whatever percentage to find you a tenant. You got to pay them. It's a huge, huge proposition. So that's part of the reason I built all this is because as a modern e-commerce brand, if you can have fractional infrastructure where you only pay for the square footage that you need and you have infinite scalability, even if you're paying slightly more per square foot, you're only paying for what you need. So the totality of what you're paying per month is going to be way less if you just do fractional. So that's our whole business model is based off of.
Jesus.
But most people don't realize that because it is kind of complex. And I thought it was, like many things, I didn't think I was that smart. I just thought it was so obvious to everybody else. I thought I was late to the game. I thought like, oh, everybody already knows this. I'm an idiot for not knowing this. In reality, most people don't know any of this shit. I'm like, oh, well, I'm not a total idiot. Like, I'm just a different kind of idiot.
Dude, that makes me want to get like more, because I have my real estate license.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, dude, just here's a warehouse. It's just like, because great, man. I don't rent, like, I rent, but I don't have anything. I haven't bought any properties or anything like that. So I don't have that much to say about
Your
it.
clients, I think, are going to be better. If you're a realtor, I would say that your clients are probably a lot more reliable because you're only dealing with other business owners.
Yeah.
No random person off the street is going to be like, well, should I get this 5-bedroom house in La Jolla or a 10,000 square foot warehouse? Fuck you, did I move your family to a warehouse? So you're getting business owners that want to buy in there, not, random family people. So it's not a different class of people. It's just an entirely different type of person that you can vet a lot more too. Like we have a real estate and we've been talking to for our stuff, and he's awesome. But it was like, he was asking for stuff before we got started about financials. I'm like, dude, totally reasonable. But it's a lot easier to vet like me and my company with actual, tax documents than it is like some random person like, well, let's say I make this much. Like, oh, do you? I don't know.
Say.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. All right. Next question is, imagine if you had to start like apparel over, right? You're still in apparel, but you, like I said, start over. What shipping methods would you be doing, right? The best shipping methods, and also like type of software, websites, like get your company or your business up and going.
Yeah, I saw you mention that question. It's hard. It's hard to answer because there's no context for that.
Yeah,
and there's a right answer at each stage of the game. In the beginning, a lot of people do dropship where you don't have no inventory and you have print on demand model, and you just basically you're a marketer and you're just marketing ideas on t-shirts, and that's totally viable. And
what's dropshipping?
So you get a print on demand operation like Teespring or some of these other, there's Zazzle's good. There's a few others that do this, but it's a very common model. So you as the, brand owner, it's not really a brand at that point. You're a marketer of like designs on t-shirts.
Yeah.
You put out the mock-ups, you put it out to the internet and you run ads to it, and then whatever sells, collect a payment on. But you might sell a t-shirt for $25 and you might actually, it might cost you $23 to get that t-shirt done.
Yeah, right.
Right. So you're like, oh, I made money. Like, well, yeah, $2.
Acquire customer, boy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So it's a very different model. It's great for testing the market and seeing if your idea is going to work. So say you have like 20 designs. You're like, oh my God, I got 20 designs, and you want to do each one of 5 colors. I'm like, that's 100 fucking different variations.
Yeah.
And then 100 variations run across 5 different sizes. That's 500 different SKUs you have to do for these designs, right? So, and to actually buy inventory in that at multiple of each, I mean, that's tens of thousands of dollars in inventory just to test an idea.
Yeah.
So you just have a print on demand operation, and you go to one of these places and you're like, we don't do this, by the way. So if your license, don't hit us up for that shit. We don't do fucking print on demand for a variety of reasons. But if you do that, use them, and then you'll get to test all this stuff. So out of these, 20 designs, you'll probably have 3 or 5 that actually sell and do well. And in that 3 to 5, you probably have 1 or 2 colors that sell at a good rate. Use that data, cut every fucking thing else. Cut all the other designs that didn't sell well. Cut all the other colors that didn't sell well. And just the evolution of print on demand model is to go to an inventory model, because print on demand is kind of sloppy printing. It's very kind of juvenile. It's not even your company. It's like you're basically, I don't know. It's and the quality is crap.
Yeah.
Usually print on demand quality, it's all sticky and nasty and thick. Like it's just not good. So it's very hard to build a brand on that. But it's great to start because you don't have to have any inventory, very little upfront cost. You just need to be creative and have the drive to push it. But then most people stop there because they're not willing to look at the data. And once you look at the data, that'll give you what you need to start the inventory model. Inventory model, you usually have to pay up front, and you'll have to have either get it shipped to you, and then you have a fulfillment operation in your house, or you can have a company like we do. We print and we fulfill for other companies. So we're kind of a one-stop shop, not print on demand because they have to buy inventory, but we take care of everything else, including like customer service. But let's say in this guy's case, it sounds like he's currently running his own system. It sounds like he's got a shop he's working with, and he's getting product into his spare room or garage or whatever, and he's looking at how to actually get it out to the customer. I think he said that he
goes to the post office.
Okay,
so
yeah.
Like grabs off the shelf in the garage, goes to the post office and sends it out.
Yeah, a couple key things on that. It's super easy. You'll print off so first off, you should be using Shopify as your e-commerce platform. Ari Witt at Digital Nomad Designs is who we go through for all our stuff. Our email is Ari, A-R-I, at digitalnomaddesigns.com. Hit her up. She's not paying. Like, we don't. She just does awesome work, and I want her to grow. She's a badass person. So I'm like, dude, go to her for anything Shopify needed. So you should be on Shopify. The back end that we use, Shopify is really good on the front end, but it's kind of clunky to fulfill off of. So we recommend using ShipStation.com, which is a plugin that's like, I don't know, 10 to 20 bucks a month on the back end. But you run all your fulfillment off that. So Shopify is your front end. ShipStation.com is your back end. You can batch process stuff out and just make it way faster. And then when you print off the labels, so you have a packing slip and a shipping label. What people normally do is they have a regular printer, which prints out paper. Ink is stupid expensive.
Yeah.
That's where the print companies make all their money, is the inks. It's nuts. So the best option is to get a thermal printer. Dymo 4XL is good. I think we use now a Rollo something or other. I don't know. Don't ask me on fucking internet. You guys can Google this shit. You're getting enough free information, motherfuckers.
Thermal printer.
Thermal printer. Yeah. Dymo 4XL is the one we used to use, and we use a Rollo now. But that's going to save you on ink costs because you don't have any ink costs. And I think you can get UPS labels for free on Amazon or something like that. But they're 4x6 labels, super easy, and that'll save you a lot of money. And they're fast and like relatively simple too. And then not Tyvek envelopes, but polymers you can get on Uline. We use, I think, the 11 by 13 inch. You just get them on Uline for, I don't know, 20 cents, 40 cents. You can get customized stuff. Sticker Mule is great. I don't know if they have that. psprint.com has some stuff with there. I mean, those are the places we literally get our stuff from. And it's been, so you do that, put in there. Oh, yeah. And then, you just got to take it down to USPS until you're big enough where you can establish a drop, which means like they'll come and pick up from your house, but they usually won't go to your house and do it. It'll be like, that's the point where you have a warehouse type thing. But to save time, just don't ship every day. Just do it like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So instead of like, you'll batch out your time. So instead of spending a half hour every day for 5 days, like just spend 45 minutes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So now you're making 3 trips to the office a week instead of 5. And your customers get it, a half a day earlier or later. It's typically not something the average customer is going to complain about. So it saves a lot of time that way. That's exactly the blueprint that I would recommend for somebody starting an apparel brand. That's not what I would do now. I would just move straight to inventory model. But that's because I already know, like, I have a good idea, like, what's going to work, what's not going to work, what type of blanks I want, what inks, like how I want it done, the whole thing. But in the beginning, dude, print on demand is a great option to start with.
There you go, guys. Ryan just gave you the blueprint. Don't DM him. Pick his brain.
No, just
it's right here.
Done with me. $5 million.
I'll buy you coffee. Bitch, I can buy my own coffee. Dude,
and pick your brain. Here you go.
Oh my God. I laughed so hard last episode when you said that. Bitch, I can buy my own coffee. That was great. So we kind of went into like softwares. So that's great. Shopify is number one. Like, just get into it. Yeah.
Dude, the plugins on it are fantastic. The conversion rate on it is better than any other platform. It's way easier. Like Amazon has unfortunately or fortunately, they have the trademark or the patent on one-click checkout. So nobody else can fucking do that. That's why nobody else has done it, which is kind of a like shitty situation. Like, you probably shouldn't have been able to get that or a fucking patent, but Bezos is Bezos.
Do whatever you want.
Right, exactly, yeah. So when people are wondering, why can't anybody else check out like Amazon? Because they have the fucking patent on it. That's why. But Shopify's,
just the really buy now button. Just now it's there.
One-click checkout. It's literally a patent.
Damn,
it's crazy. Yeah, it's amazing what you can and can't patent. Dude, somebody tried to trademark, or they tried to patent the sun one time, and she was going to charge some fucking crazy lady, and she was going to charge everybody a royalty for like using the sun. Like, bitch, come on, what the fuck are you doing?
Good. Hey, the juices are flowing.
Yeah, people want to like
stupid.
trademark the term car and then like license the term car to like Chevy and shit. Like, dude, what the fuck? Come the fuck on.
Yeah, I've thought about doing that. But yeah, that's the end of the question. So we can just chop it up real quick.
Yeah, man.
Patents, man. I've thought about like, dude, I love Shark Tank. The reason I say that is because it's just like, it makes me think so big. because in the industry I'm in, the niche I'm in, I just sometimes get so like tunnel vision, where it's like when you have tunnel vision, it's good, but it's very hard for like innovating. You know what I mean? Like, because to me, if I see like what I want, cool. But like if I'm trying to come up with new ideas, then it's hard to be like, that's why I have to like ask you questions like outside the podcast. Like, because sometimes I feel like I'm so in it, I don't know the outside perspective. And the outside perspective could just be like, holy shit, like that's the answer.
Well, that's normal though. You got to have like an ebb and flow.
Yeah.
So I feel like when I'm focused on something, it's very hard for me to like creative thinking, but I can't get anything done if I'm not focused. So I have to have that time where I just like sit back, relax, maybe have a cigar and a drink and just watch the sunset and have ideas. And it's a shower sometimes. Just like you have to kind of have that open mind. But then also once you have an idea, you need to have the ability to focus on to actually get shit done and move the needle forward. But yeah, it's an ebb and flow. Because I think people that spend their only time focusing on one thing and their only time just randomly free thinking about whatever, none of them get anything fucking done.
Yeah. To me, it's just, I constantly have a direction of where I'm going, you know? And that's going to be like a $50 million company with a jet right next to yours that has the birds under the wing.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Like that.
Fuck yeah.
All the same thing. Maybe like dope emojis. I don't fucking know. But it's being innovative but consistent. And it's always pushing that next thing. Like to me, I think about like, what's the next TikTok? Like what's that next thing that to be a part of or even create? Like that's where my mind goes. But like, that's why I still stay in my lane of what I know, content creation. But like what I'll be able to do in that space, since I do have content creation. So my mind's constantly just thinking about like what's new and happening. But that's what I meant. Like when I'm so so one side on like my vision of what's happening, what I want, sometimes I don't see like, oh, I should have hopped on that too. You know what I mean? That could have propelled me even more fast.
But that's the fact that you're even aware of that.
Yeah.
Means that you're going to win. Yeah. Because that's exactly what it is that like that awareness of what's going on and then focus, how can I utilize what I've already built to capitalize on that or to be useful in that arena? And they're totally right. There's always going to be something new. And nobody knows what the fuck it is until it hits. And sometimes like, oh, Vine's the next thing it was for like 30 seconds. And then your 7 seconds or what it was.
But they were the first one in short form content.
Yeah.
Which is
that
fucking
transferred
crazy.
to blowing up Snapchat, which then transferred to Instagram, getting later the stories, which increases valuation. There's a whole bunch of stuff with that. But yeah, it was one thing usually leads to another. Interesting thing about all these ideas too. First to market is worth something. But the first to market is usually not the one that ends up being the big player in it. It's usually like a second or third guys who come up, learn from that first person who's like, you know, plowing the fucking path. And it's easier for them to walk behind it. And they're like, oh, well, here's how they fucked up. I'm ready to do my own path now. We're going to go this direction. And they can sometimes like extremely bypass some of those things.
And it's crazy because a great example is you've heard of the Snuggie. Right?
Oh,
the
yeah.
long cloak thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, dude.
With the armholes? That looks amazing.
Yeah, dude. Like the crazy infomercial.
Perfect movie watching.
Yeah, exactly. You could grab popcorn, your hands don't get cold, whatever. But the infomercials are really funny. But they weren't the first person to create that. They were the best to market it, and they'd go that way. But guess what blew them out of the water? It's called, that was the Snuggie. It's called the Comfy. Blew them out of the water. And it's honestly a bigger, like, hoodie, like just a sweatshirt, and it only goes down to like your right below your knees.
Yeah.
But it's just a bigger blanket. It's more soft, more comfy, and it's just like they marketed it really well. But now that's the number one go-to now is the Comfy. But it's
that's exactly how it works.
Shit.
Somebody's like, hey, that's pretty cool, but it'd be a lot cooler if it was like this.
Yeah.
Now you have a new idea, or at least somewhat new idea, and then you go do it. But that's how everything is. It's like everything is an evolution or a derivative of something else. There's very few things that are like actually like straight up new. You know, it's like music. Like most music is a derivative of something that came before. That's why everybody's just recycling old shit now.
Yeah,
they ran out of fucking new ideas.
So many samples right now of like past music that people are taking over.
I think Skrillex was the last person to actually create like a new sound.
Yep.
I mean, granted, it sounds like Transformers fucking, but it's definitely a new sound.
Yeah, I love that sound.
It was cool. I used to play that back in the day for sure. Yeah,
dude, dubstep, holy shit. And then that's the thing, created dance music, bass, like house, like so many genres of that sound. Melodic, it's crazy. But yeah, man, that's where like I'm at right now is this last, damn, I can't believe we're in fucking June 1st. That's insane. 6.
Well, you're starting. This is why I make like 5-year plans.
Yeah.
Because like 1 year, it's fucking fast, dude. Fucking fast.
Because this is my 2nd year in business.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, oh, wow, dude, 3 years is
you know, quick, dude.
So it's like, it's exciting. And I feel like my first year of business, learning about like the ropes of like, oh, dude, the discipline of being an entrepreneur. You got to pay your own stuff. You're broke, blah, blah. Like trying to figure all that shit out. 2nd year of business. Okay, I have momentum of where I'm going, but I know I can make it more concrete, detailed. This is the person I am, and this is the product or service I give, right? Be very specific on that. Year 3, I want to be that person so detailed where people just come to me and be like, this is what he does, and he's the fucking best at it. And also have year 3 of like, okay, now we're going to start innovating some shit.
Year 3 is a good year to scale, I think. Yeah. Especially because you have an idea of like what it takes, and you start to get some confidence because you make mistakes and you fall on your face and you learn, you get back up, and you're like, okay, you start to, learn to walk. It's like a kid, you're learning to walk, like 2 years old, toddling around. And then you start to run. You start to do new shit. You're like, wow, when I hit something when I'm running, it hurts way worse than hit something when I'm walking. So you just get hit harder and harder and harder, but you also get bigger and stronger and faster and more capable. And that's just, I mean, there's a lot of similarities with entrepreneurship and business because it is exactly like life. It's exactly like life. That's why there's so many like analogies that I use, because it's all the fucking same. We're all going through the same shit. We just kind of have different perspectives on it. But once you peel away perspectives, like there's a lot of alignment, because all entrepreneurs have to go through the exact same thing, the same stories, the same, like if you read enough entrepreneurship books, it could be the exact same fucking person, just slightly different story. It's completely interchangeable. And if you hang out in the entrepreneurship world long enough and build anything big enough, like your story is going to look exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like, how do these people overcome this monumental shit? Well, it's because they built themselves strong enough to fucking withstand it. It just takes time, but also perseverance and focus and determination.
I said we end it there.
Love it, dude.
That was really good. Yeah, man. So that was a great, dude. This was one of my favorite episodes, honestly.
I feel like I every episode, I'm like, that's good.
I know. This last one was the best. It just gets better and better. Yeah. But yeah, really appreciate all you guys reaching out, sending these questions. It helps us get a better understanding of what you guys want us to talk about and hear for us, because like we always say, we're just kind of chopping it up. I talk about my issues that I have with my company and relate it back to Ryan. He helps me out and vice versa. So I really appreciate you guys reaching out. Send them, keep sending them. DM me at Kota Films and Ryan at Invictus
5326.
5326.
Yeah. But I think that's the evolution of this podcast, is to get more involved with people, to get more connected with people and help solve more and bigger problems. Like ultimately that's what's exciting for me. That's what I enjoy doing. And like, shit, dude, if we can help other people and bring value in that way, then it's fucking win-win.
Yeah. What are we at? Downloads. 1250.
All right, cool.
Yeah, dude.
We're getting there.
We're rocking them up. So,
all right, man.
Yeah, man.
Shake and bake.
Shake and bake.
Bingo.